Welcome, Scorpio, to your Gemini New Moon 1 month forecast for the ascendant, the Sun, or the Moon across the 14th or 15th of June, depending on location. The New Moon in Gemini is at 24 degrees and 2 minutes. We can talk about a Gemini New Moon from a general viewpoint, but each lunation is totally unique. On the screen is this one, but from a purely Scorpionic viewpoint. I'm going to unpack this for you. By the end of the video, you'll have a clear picture of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. The sign of Gemini is the third zodiac sign. It's ruled by Mercury. It's an air sign, so it's about communication. Mercury in mythology is the messenger, the intermediary between the gods above and us mere mortals on planet Earth. But what makes this particular Gemini new moon so very intriguing is that Uranus, the planet of freedom, but also the planet which is very provocative around change, is in the sign of Gemini as the new moon is forged for the first time in about 77 years. Now, Uranus in the eighth house could give you over the next 7 years brilliant ideas when it comes to using your resources in a more imaginative and fresh way. So if you are more entrepreneurially inclined or you want to make more use of your everyday money, the chance to do so can come from looking at things in a fresh and different way. But the combination of the sun and the moon, the king and the queen of the sky in a new moon, gives us the opportunity to use their joint energies in a unified way. The sun about vitality, the moon about our instincts. And for you, the eighth house can be about deep transformation, but it can be about the things we share, perhaps money, but also it can be intimacy. But it can also be about where we're using our instincts to get beneath the surface, which you have a talent for. So over the next months, as you set your intentions, if there are revelations or changes you want to bring into your life, this is a new moon, which certainly tees up the opportunity. But if we just widen the lens, let's just think about your two ruling planets. So Mars, the planet of desire and action, is in the part of your chart to do with relationships. The eighth house can be where we get drawn towards someone in a more mesmeric way, where their energy is just drawing us in. And Mars in that seventh house can give you more confidence if there is someone you're finding utterly fascinating to take action about it. But Mars is also linking to the lunation in a semi-sextile, but also linking to Jupiter, the planet of freedom and faith, in the ninth house of your chart in a sextile. And that's a very energizing link. But it does suggest to me that if you're involved in something at the moment which you're not enjoying, and it could be a friendship, it could be a romance, Uranus in its T square between the south and the north node, which is a really important aspect. It hasn't happened for 84 years. It peaked on the 12th of June. It provides a backdrop through to the 26th of July. But it's really asking you, are you committed to something which no longer serves your greater good? And what Uranus can do in that inimitably very provocative way is ask the question, is it time to release ourselves from something that we have been very devoted to, which the eighth house can be about? So the eighth house can be where we're going all in, or it can be where we're coming out, but it can also be where we're evolving deeply beneath the surface. The other thing to tell you is in terms of managing your money, or if you're wanting to be more flexible, very Gemini energy around perhaps some business ideas you've got, is the planet of finance, Venus, is right at the top of your chart and forging a stunning alliance to Uranus. So there may be, through your contacts or just the way that you connect to people, they see you as being deep, perhaps a bit intense, not always able to understand your motive. But I think at the moment you have quite the gift of drawing people to you and explaining, Gemini, very much about the message, any ideas you've got in a very persuasive and also very compelling way. So that's exciting. Also, your modern ruler of Pluto is linking to Uranus. If there is some change going on, it wouldn't be a surprise if you were working to get a new property or refurbish the one you're in. It may be you're going through quite the rejuvenation of somewhere you're living at the present time, or if it's too cramped, it's not in the right location. Once again, Uranus can push you to make a change. The one thing I would say is the ruler of the sign of Gemini, Mercury, is challenged on this particular lunation by Saturn. And as much as you may have the idea that you want to evolve something, you're wanting to get closer to someone, you're wanting to leave something, Saturn in that square with Mercury just suggests you think about how you're going to plan this and set your strategy very carefully. Because if you rush, I actually think that something could go a little bit awry. And I also think that although we think about new moons as very much about setting that intention and it's in a very positive way, I do think that's potentially quite a stressful aspect if you feel at the moment that you've got a lot of demands and you're not able to be quite as free or evolve in the way you want. Perhaps you don't feel that you've got the options that I'm talking about. And I really get that because sometimes it's not just as easy for an astrologer to say, well, if you're not happy, leave a situation. Things can be very complex. And I think that's where the mental mastery of this event for you comes from, is understand how you can use your mind, but influence things in a way which really fits your heart purpose, your soul purpose through the North Node. And that's not necessarily easy to do. But there are some very flamboyant energies in this event. If you don't rush and you're open to doing things in a different way, releasing things that are no longer serving your greater good, or having the courage to pursue something that is, it can be a very exciting next 4 weeks ahead. I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just before I do, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. For many years, it was buy two, get 30% off. Because of the cost of living increases, trying to do my bit. If you buy one, you'll get 3 in total. 3 for the price of 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report. I think it's the most important document any of us will ever read. It helps us to understand the patterns that are played out in our lives, get a more intimate understanding of them, because we don't always see ourselves quite in the way that that astrology might illuminate for us, because we're always learning. But 3 is your totally unique 12 months transit forecast and also your karmic soul-led draconic analysis, which helps us to look at astrology, life, and ourselves in a very different way. Please see below for more. Now, if you've yet to watch your Jupiter No More Blocks deep dive video, please check that out on the screen. Your Chiron into Taurus 50-year return video on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, it'd be an absolute pleasure. I work with people the world over. Please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage and sign up for my free daily written horoscope, find your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, please see that below too as well. So energy, if we're talking about the physical domain, comes very much from the 6th house. And having Saturn, Neptune and Chiron all in that 6th house is asking you to be virtuous about how you use your energy, but also the amount of rest you get. When you go to bed, always a struggle for me. We always seem to be working late, and it's very hard to then sort of throttle down and decompress from the intensity of the day. But that Saturn in the sixth house is asking you to be very disciplined. And because it is clashing with Mercury, the planet, which is very much to do with the nervous system, I think if you do feel a bit cramped in or stuck in your situation, that can amp up tension. So just be aware that if you can do some relaxing, stretching, walking, swimming, anything which helps you to get more grounded, I think that would be a good thing to do. As far as your professional situation is concerned, I think if you work in a role which is very business led, so you can use your powers of an analysis and where you get beneath the surface and tease out value that other people don't see, you're going to be absolutely brilliant. And I think with Venus right at the top of your chart, although people can see you as being perhaps a bit reserved, but at times a bit blunt, at least they know where they are with you if they give you the space to open up a bit and be truly yourself. But that Venus right at the top of your chart suggests over the next month, you may be drawn towards or have a conversation with that could almost be a little fated, which could be supercharged, but also have real potential for you to take on a bigger role or be more visible in what you do. That's really good. If you work in a situation where you can also feel that you can assert your boundaries, I think that's going to make you feel more comfortable professionally too. As far as your romantic situation is concerned, well, having Venus and Uranus in a sextile is always exciting. It gives us the need for a bit of space or to be a bit more unpredictable or even to act out some more quirky sides of our nature. If you are single, you may connect to someone, but because Uranus is in that eighth house, it could get seriously hot and seriously hot quickly, but it could also burn out very quickly too. So if you are wanting something that's more profound and longer lasting and more soul-led, the North Node in the fifth house, just slow things down a little bit. It doesn't mean to say it can't get to what you want, but don't perhaps lean into the instant gratification too quickly. If you are in a relationship where you're not sure it is for you for the longer term. The thing with eighth house vibes, it can be about accepting that life is a series of ends and beginnings. And that is classic eighth house energy. So use the mental mastery of Gemini to think about how you can negotiate a separation in a way which is that's least painful, but as best as possible, you can separate resources, eighth house, that are shared in a way which works for both of you. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Scorpio. All the best, take care, and goodbye.